What's up, everyone? What's up, world? This is E-Rock coming live from Buffalo Wild Wings. You might be asking why I'm here. It's a long story, but you know what? Shout out to them for being patient enough and being, they're cool people. They're good people here. Shout out to the bartender, Anna. She's really awesome. There you go. She deserves a shout out. So I'm going to give other shout outs because there's a lot of chaos in this room. It's a chemical mixture, if you will. And it's made of chaos. And it's made of upfront statements that are meant to be provocative. And then there is the even-headed other guy who does cause chaos, but only in selective mix. So let's get this party started. Let's go ahead and start with the guy who's level-headed. Let's call it. I mean, he's no babe. He's always got a good fade. Not really. He's got actually locks. But don't stop talks because this guy is that man. His name is BT Gabe. What up, G?
Yeah, I don't care that Karl-Anthony Towns made those final threes. He's not a three-point shooter, and he shouldn't consider himself as such.
All right, so apparently there is the level-headedness is also on the chaos as well, or at least he's on the controversy train, and it's ironic because we'll get to the train thing in a second. But right now, let's go ahead to the guy he's no Joe Schmo, but he does rock no earmuffs. He got some Java, but his name is Joe. So guess what? Get ready for Mo. We're gonna talk some SPO, Horts. Cohorts that we are. What's up? His name is Java, no earmuffs, Joe. What's up, Joseph?
What up, gentlemen?
He plays for Tree Hill High School.
Oh, Tree Hill Ravens. Shout out Lucas Scott.
You know what? I need to go get my Fresh Prince Bel Air Academy jersey. I got one of those. I got to roll with it, man. Black and white's fresh. I like he's rocking this. I'm looking like a basic B right now. All right.
I got to represent. They just did a charity basketball game for the V Foundation last weekend. So always got to support the peeps.
Support the peeps, man. Support Wilmington, North Carolina. That's what I'm saying. I'm with them. All right. Hey, guess what? I mentioned a train. Well, this guy's going to get in your brain because right now he's going to talk some trash. The dude is definitely rising from the ash like a phoenix because he's here to piss all of you off. He's here to say ridiculous things, and he'll drop some knowledge and gems in there, but not before he has to cut through the minutia, which is sometimes hard to look at, like Medusa. Ooh, and I look at that rhyming right there. So live from the subway, not the restaurant. What up, JR?
Doing good, E-Rock. I love the rhyme game, and I'm gonna get inside some people's brain like a brainworm, baby.
Like a brainworm, huh? I thought it was an earworm. Oh no, you're talking about the Robert Kennedy, or the Kennedy dude. Brain, yeah.
Exactly. That's why people are gonna fall for RFK, man.
That only happens when you're abducted by aliens. That's what I believe. That's another story. That's another. It's like there's the probe up the one end, and there's worms in the other side. There we go. So, guys, I think we covered this. Shout out to to Curious Sports Pulse. You know, English is hard. So let's go ahead and let's just jump to what we saw last night. It was cue the record scratch, because the Q stands for question. The question is, can this be sustained? Because we're not in Cuban-land anymore. We're back in the land of 1,000 lakes. and it's a different series. Maybe that's a question. That's the question. Different series. Is there a momentum switch? And I know that we have had our picks. But I've said it before. I'll say it again. There's got to be a team that breaks the streak of coming back from 3-0. We saw it in baseball. I think we've seen. I don't know if we've seen it in hockey. Y'all have to fact check.
Oh no, we saw. Oh no, there's a lot in hockey. Reverse sweeps, love them. It's gotta happen.
It's gonna happen in basketball at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see it. Imagine if we saw it in football, seeing a 7-game series. I mean, there would be so many injuries. It would make the Knicks look like it would be like awesome.
They'll be dead.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. So let's go ahead. I don't know if they'd be dead. I'm not going to go that far, but I will say there would definitely be a lot more concerns. You have to have a really deep bench. But it would be chaos, and you like chaos, bro. So let's start with chaos first, since I introduced Gabe first. We'll go from chaos to a little less chaos to a little more bitterness than less chaos. So we'll start with Jordan. Jordan, let's go with you. Speaking of bitter, here we go. Most bitter Knicks fan you'll ever meet.
I'm a bitter New York sports fan in general, man. But yeah, like for me, I just saw like the Timberwolves just basically just woke up for one game. They're just like, we down 3-0. Oh, we gotta go home, man. But not unpacking the bags. But basically like forcing the mat to play down. Like they just find like it's that the shooting's fine. The shooting's fine. Wake up, Carl Anthony Towns is actually doing something. You shouldn't be taking threes, and he fouled out in the end. He still at least showed up in one game. At least one game.
Well, we're gonna get there. Actually, we are gonna get there. I'm glad you said that. That's actually a very good. So put a pin in that real quick, because that is going to be a topic that is discussed. So you're saying that they weren't pups last night. They weren't cats. They weren't kittens. Is that what you're saying?
No. Carl Anthony Towns finally became a full-grown cat. Like he's not a tabby. Like cat. Exactly.
So like a tabby cat? Or are we talking about like a jaguar?
Exactly. Tabby cat.
A tabby cat? Dude, there's ferocious tabby cats. You got to watch out for the ferocious tabby cats. So, what about like a New York alley cat? Or something like a feral cat?
Oh, no, he doesn't have that cat in him.
All right. Well, let's move on to Mr. Tree Hill himself. Mr. One Tree Hill.
Yeah, I mean, solid game by the Wolves. They had to have it. It's win or go home, and every single game now for them is win or go home. So it's good to see them show up, especially on the road, to get a victory in Dallas in a closeout game for them. Definitely very good. I did see a lot better play from Towns, a little bit better balance game, playing from the inside first. More of his touches and scoring opportunities were inside before the outside. Some things I'm concerned about. We'll see if they can sustain it. But they did live to fight another day. I don't think they can count on Dallas shooting the way they did in a game 5 closeout. I think that's out of the norm for all three of them to be off like that, and by all three meaning Doncic, Irving, and Washington. I don't think they can count on that on the next game, so they'll need to really bring it.
We don't know what happened to Iraq. He might be beaten up by the Buffaloes.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Oh, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was on, and I was like, Oh,
But yeah, I agree. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, yeah.
What-
Like I agree with Joe.
what's going on?
Jordan, this is why I dub you as the official executive co-host. And again, this is E-Rock show, but this is why you deserve to be co-host whenever something happens to E-Rock.
Yeah. 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 Like I said, I agree. Like I said, there's nothing else that I can't argue against, Joe. Like even with the record strap.
He's back. Hey,
Oh, thank God.
So sorry, guys. We lost viewers because
Jordan was gonna lose it.
I was about to say the Buffalo's about to.
He was-
I thought to
he
say
was-
the Buffalo's about to kill you.
He was cat in game 4. He was freaking out. he was ready to take the shot, but he had no faith it was gonna hit.
Exactly. I'll take that shot though.
I was a kid. Hey,
I'll take a shot.
Oh, you're gonna take a shot. Oh, okay. Well, that always makes you a lot more entertaining. So let's do that. Okay. So where will we
I did
at?
close my point, by the way, so you can go ahead and move on.
Yeah, I hooked up to my hotspot. That's why I had to, man. This B-Dubs is a B-Dub connection, janky for some reason. But I'm back. So who had the last word while I was gone? Gabe did. Gabe, what did you associate with this? I'm sorry. Just to give me a quick rehash.
No, we waited for you, and we made Jordan the executive co-host for any time you have to leave. That's what we did.
Oh God! No wonder we went from 0 views to back to 6 when I got on. No, I'm playing. No, I'm playing. Well, Jordan, did you say anything too ridiculous or?
No, I just said that you might have been ran over by Buffalo Stampede. So.
Yeah, like Jessica Simpson back in the day, Buffalo wings, she didn't eat buffalo. So.
You got me craving wings. I kind of hate that you're in there right now.
Yeah.
I really do.
Same. Like the one,
You just got
the
access
Buffalo
to it
Wild.
right there, yeah.
Yeah, the Buffalo Wild Wings at Palisades closed for
Yeah, man, the best
seasonal
places in
shops.
Best places in Denver. Damn, someone told me the name of it the other day. It's the best wings I've ever had. Anyone that's probably been there, it's called something number 3 or something like that. Something number.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but the best wings I had were in New Orleans. They were like I forgot the name, but those wings were good. Those wings were freaking good.
Thank you. Yeah. Those were good. Hey, all right, we're getting the wings. We're getting the wings in a bit. It's not in Cuban-land.
Yeah, Gabe,
We're not in
make your
Cuban-land.
call.
I'll put a bow on this topic. Actually, no. We still got to get to you. Since y'all were holding off. Gabe, you didn't get to make a point.
Yeah, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly with what you just said, E-Rock, and I hate the mentality of sports fans when they try to sound smarter than what they actually are. Shout out you listening. You know who you are. That can't ever happen because it's never happened before. Yeah, that's not a reason. So, yeah, we've never seen someone in the NBA come back from 0-3, but that's not a reason for it to not happen. Let me give you a reason why it won't happen this year in the Western Conference Finals, because it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's why it won't happen. If it had been another team this year, could you have considered it, especially with the injury history? Yes, but come on. Not
It's a
that
team
they were
from
lucky.
Minnesota.
They weren't lucky. They weren't lucky to win Game 4, and they played well. And even in the losses, it was decently close at the end. It could have realistically gone either way. But I'm trusting the coin flip to fall back in favor of the Dallas Mavericks more often than not, let alone this game to a Game 7. Why? Because we're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves.
We're talking about a Minnesota team in general. They always find ways to lose.
I don't know why you're giving so much shade to the Wolves, dude. It's like they haven't been in this situation. So it's not like they're talking about the Buffalo Bills where they just have a history of crumbling. This is like a team that's never really been in this.
They're a Minnesota team. They're a team in Minnesota. They find ways to break their fans' hearts.
Wait, so that's rich coming from a New York fan.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm about to say you say yourself. Well, technically, Joe, you're going Jets fan, right?
No, I'm not a Jets fan. My brother is.
No, I said Joe, not you. I know you're.
No. Giant Ranger Yankees.
Oh, okay, so you're the traditional of the
Yeah,
you're the
I'm
big
the blue
market
blood
guy.
fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what it was? It's Ben. Benny is the Jets fan. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a poor Jets fan. Well, either way, no, I mean I don't think Minnesota is like on that level, like what you're referring to. But I mean,
Minnesota
oh,
Vikings, Timberwolves, Twins, Wild. The Minnesota Wild.
Twins at least won World Series, though, right?
In the 90s.
All right, I think they're being too hard. I think
They just won their first playoff series since freaking. I don't know if it's 92, 94.
Timberwolves, 2003.
No, the Twins. The Timberwolves. This is the first time since 20 years ago.
Yeah, I just said that 2003.
Yeah. I was talking about the Twins, but yeah.
That's funny. I think that's when this show started. No, I mean this show. I meant One Tree Hill, not Man, that was tough. That's literally not what I meant, but that was accidentally really funny.
There was no such thing as a podcast back in those days. I think that was in the blogging. That was the blogging era. The last time the previous time the Timberwolves were in the conference championship, it was a blogging age.
Exactly.
I think people were blogging about the OC.
Yeah.
That's how old that is. I think
Shout out
Montreal
Flip.
I think Montreal was right after that, actually. There you go. I think that came on in 07. Yeah, and shout out to Sophia Bush, because, dang. All right. Damn.
Word.
Yeah, I know. Let's go. On that note, we got a little off track. You know, we did this part yesterday. Gabe, I don't think you weren't on the show yesterday, but I'm gonna get to that's why it's important. What's coaching got to do with it? Got to do with it. Now that we've seen, this is part two. Part two. I wanted to get all fancy, get a little French in there. Hey, now we got Rick and Chris. Now yesterday we had a guy on the panel who said, obviously he made good points, but he did say that Chris was he was done the lesser of he has done the least good of the two coaches in their respective series. I think last night kind of put that to bed because Rick Carlisle they just been highlighting everything that he did wrong and seeing it more and more. Looking at what Finch did yesterday, he actually made adjustments. You know, finally someone actually made adjustments other than Jason Kidd. So I'm happy to say I think I want to see if the guy who made these comments, Mr. Joe, would like to retract his statement.
The hell for? Why would I do that? They avoided a sweep. They avoided a sweep with a more talented roster than the Pacers have. Like, why would I do that? There's nothing that I saw yesterday that would make me feel differently because the expectations are completely different. The Pacers were lucky to be there, and the Timberwolves were supposed to be, and they were supposed to put up a much better fight than they have. So at the end of the day, I've got nothing to say differently than I did yesterday.
I don't know. You're gonna stand on your high horse, huh?
It's not a high horse. It's sound reasoning.
I don't know. I just think for a guy who actually has been to a championship, won a championship, and he's been deeper in the playoffs several times compared to the other, he made stoneheaded coaching decisions that cost the Pacers along with their players. It's a team wide thing, but I mean Rick Carlisle just made some dumb decisions where Chris Finch was just basically was benign. He just wasn't doing anything until last night. I don't know. Well, maybe.
You asked the question. I answered it. One game does not change my opinion. Even a broken clock is right twice. Okay, so
Sunshine's in the dog grass at least once a day, right?
So there really wasn't anything to add to that.
All right. Well, we'll see. What if they win the second game? What if they win the next game? Would you change the tune on that? Would you have to reconsider?
I mean, you asked me a question at the time that you asked it. That's how I felt. Now that's subject to change, but at the time that you're asking it, that's where I'm at. I mean,
Right.
the thing is, Rick can't really improve on his end of it at this point. So only Chris has the opportunity to move forward and improve his argument. But at the time that you're asking it, everything that was provided as far as evidence is.
Fair enough.
And I wouldn't retract anything I said about Cat yesterday either, because up until that point, we knew how he was playing, and it was up to him to change that narrative, and he did.
No,
Great.
I agree
They
with
may
that.
still go home tomorrow.
Hey, it could be. Hey, sorry, Chris. Sorry, Coach. I tried for you, but Jordan's not having it. He rejects my deposit. So he doesn't agree. All right. You weren't here yesterday, Gabe, so why don't you give your thoughts on this? Like who's been more disappointing in their respective these series? They coached well in the previous series, but in this series, obviously the Pacers got swept. Blue games. That's what the Timbers have been doing. And I know it's not all on coaching, but my question was yesterday. I was very, as you know, I'm very passionate about how boneheaded Rick Carlisle has always been. But up until yesterday, Chris Finch was that just kind of, underperforming too. So I would like to hear your opinions on this.
Yeah, if we're asking who's been most disappointing, it's of course Chris Finch. Rick Carlisle has this Indiana Pacers team ahead of schedule right now, in my opinion, in the totality of where this roster should be. And they were in the thick of things, the Indiana Pacers were, until Tyrese Halliburton had to exit. So at that point, not that he gets a pass because there were still like bad in-game decisions, but I don't know who else could have elevated this Indiana Pacers team to win a game, let alone make it an actual competitive series. And by and large, the series itself, game to game, was still competitive. So in terms of complete disappointment, of course it's Chris Finch. You have Karl-Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, and Rudy Gobert, who are, according to some, all-world, all-universal players at their given position within their skill set. Whether we can now say that's wrong or not, there are still three players who any coach would be more than willing to build around. So in terms of lack of a chance, the act of doubting the mission is by far much worse than Rick Carlisle screwing up his end of game execution, in my opinion.
Okay. I'll hold my comments till after Jordan gets his crisscross applesauce position. I will let Jordan have the next word.
Well, I still think Carlisle was being kind of like, guys, we need to blame the officiating, boys, instead actually adjusting. But yeah, Chris Finch, like he literally has three all-star player, an all NBA defensive player, and that literally won Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, getting getting destroyed by Luka Doncic. Especially in game 4, in which Don was just burning him alive. But yeah, Finch is disappointing this year, even though they're still young. Like, and I personally think if the Wolves lose this might be like, I want to say a once in a lifetime shot for a finals appearance, but the West is getting tougher. The West is getting more literally they're preparing for war next year. So yeah, Finch is very disappointing. Like even though he did suffer a knee injury, I'm sorry, Finch. You need to I want to say stand up, but you need to get out of there by yourself. You need to Oh, you gotta help me out, boys. And I'm like, nah, you good.
All right, here's my pushback. I hear all of y'all, so I'm on an island here. Apparently, I'm on an island in the sun.
You're in South
So
Carolina.
I'm gonna say
I'm closer to being on an island than you are. I'm one good earthquake from being on an island.
I'm on New York City. It's literally an
I'm on
island.
a metaphor. I'm on a metaphoric island. I'm on a position island. There we go. All right, I'm in Elba, like Napoleon over here. There you go. Look at a little history knowledge there. There you go. All right. Here's my thing. You said that the Patriots had scheduled. So were the Wolves. The Wolves were not supposed to be good going into the season. They're supposed to be pretty good. They're supposed to be talented. They were not supposed to be this far ahead. And I know we're talking about this series because obviously who has the most impressive win of the two teams, who has the most impressive winning series, obviously picking up the defending champ. So, but that's not part of this conversation. That's not what I asked. Obviously, this series. Here's what I would say. Rick Carlisle, for everything he did right in the previous series, from doing the pulling his best players in the second game to not calling the timeout. It was like rookie mistakes essentially, where I mean they're both, and also they're playing against coach Finch is playing against tougher competition. Now, yes, the Pacers, the Celtics are good, and they were undermanned. But they weren't. And by the way, they weren't undermanned. They were still down 3-0 when they lost, or no, 2-0 when they were losing the game. When they lost Hallie, they were still probably going to lose that game the way they were playing over the week. And then they had a chance to win in Game 3. And it was another coaching faux pas. That's where I'm coming from. I see where y'all are coming from for sure, because the potential for the 10 is that. But they also overperformed this year. So, I mean, or outperformed what people had expectations for. So, I think it was disappointing to see. And also, you know what the total point differential has been for this entire series of the West? 8 points total combined. So it's not like, yeah, the games have been just as close, if not closer than the Celtics and Pacers. Actually, it has been closer. So these could have gone either way. So I don't know. We'll see. I see where all y'all are coming from. Anyone have any more remarks to counter
Well,
that?
yeah,
before
but they were actually ahead. The Pacers were ahead, and Halliburton got hurt against the Boston Celtics.
Oh no,
And
my
so if you take
hammy.
if you take any of your best players off of any team, typically you get a pass as a coach. Typically. So this is why you can't say disappointment for Rick Carlisle when you compare it to Chris Finch. So if Anthony Edwards goes down tomorrow and they lose the series, yeah, it's no longer disappointment in my opinion. So the key word here is disappointment. So you're playing with house money as soon as you lose your best player and the only all-star on this team. Chris Finch, lack of adjustments, and it's been close. Imagine if he had tried something else, anything else, instead of watching the same old movie at the end until game 4. That's disappointing. You're not a spectator as a coach, and we've been on that as a podcast, us collectively, regardless of the network.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right. I mean, both of these series have had the same narrative. The team gets up, and then they get caught because they can't finish the game. Yeah, exactly. Reggie Millering over there. So I mean, it's like they let. I mean, I guess disappointing. I'll say it's a let. When I mean disappointing, it's a letdown from how well they coached in the previous series, because we expected a lot more from the coaching. And now Jason Kidd's in the coaching circle, minus yesterday, around everyone. And by the way, when you lose your best player, that just means you're playing the Boston Celtics. That's literally. Yes, when you lose your best player, it's house money. You mean anyone that's playing the Celtics? So yeah, okay. I don't care if no matter who wins this season, the Western obviously. Wrap them in bubble wrap and put them in cryo sleep until game time. Because don't trust them against the Celtics, because anything could happen with their best. Like Ant-Man could actually break a toe or something, and that would just, I don't know. that damn curse they got going on. All right.
I'd also
Okay.
argue, just one last thing before you spin it over. I'd argue that the Timberwolves are ahead of schedule because you don't bring in a Rudy Gobert and you don't bring in a Mike Conley if you didn't think you were close.
The Rudy
All that
Gobert
draft capital for Rudy Gobert.
dude, that God, you know Rudy Gobert. You know Rudy Gobert is. He's a better version of this guy to his respective sport. He pissed all the GMs off in the NBA, just like Deshaun Watson. Just pissed them off. That's like because then now all of a sudden the trade market became just totally just corrupted. And it's like, what are they giving? Like 1 million first-round picks, and I'm on a podcast. Hey, what's up? Say hi.
I
Nice.
oh no, there's
Awesome.
I think there's some worse
why we love live shows.
trades. Yes, I think there's some worse comparisons to that. I think of Herschel Walker. I think of like the Herschel Walker trade.
Oh yeah,
and Rudy Gobert, but then again, we don't know what the draft pick they're going to be.
I'm not talking about bad trades. I'm talking about something that just totally destroyed the market and all GMs. Like that's what Lamar Jackson was trying to do, and he almost did. He almost did. No, because that's why no one. Yeah,
Deshaun Watson trade was where in Cleveland were a bunch of idiots. So yeah,
fully guaranteed is crazy. I'm just saying.
What did you say on the previous show, Joe? It's like rip the Band-Aid off. I don't think they can. I don't think they literally can actually do that, even if they wanted to. They're kind of like screwed now. Like they're stuck with him for what? Like it's not like Russell Wilson. He's got way more money than Russell Wilson. Dear God. Sean Watson doesn't even have to play another down.
Rip the Band-Aid. With the Band-Aid. Jesus Christ. They can't. With all that debt money? No, Cleveland's gonna try and restructure that contract to hell. Even then, like they're stuck with him.
It sure as hell is alive money for Deshaun Watson. It's living money for Deshaun Watson. That dude's gonna be set forever. All right. Jordan mentioned this earlier. Let's move on here. Jordan mentioned this earlier, and it's a perfect segue for him to hold off until this cat scratches up the Mavs like a leather couch. Is it a requirement for Catman to keep the juice going for Giant Man to stay on the rise as like last night? I think it's a pretty simple question, but I will even add to it. I will say, who else needs to be the linchpin for the Wolves? I think y'all agree. Catman needs to do his thing the way he did last night. So talk about Cat and then talk about any other key pieces you believe can at least extend the series to a game six. Let's start with a different person this time. Let's start with Joe.
Well, I mean, I've said this before. Actually, probably tweeted this at some point between 3 and 4. It really looked like for a while there that Cat was going to let Ant do this by himself. He was that non-existent. He was so non-existent to the point that in Game 3, at some point we had to put out a search party for him because we didn't see him like almost the whole second half. It felt like, and I think as a player, just on a pride factor, the fact that the coach decided to go with a different personnel and you watching your team still try to get a victory and come close and lose to sit on the bench and watch that happen is a pretty humbling experience. And again, I'm not a professional athlete, so I can't really speak to that personally, but I mean, these guys all have egos out there, and they all have a competitive nature, I would think, and I feel like you don't get that far without it. I think that's got to be a humbling experience, and I think that might have been a catalyst to lead into what we saw in that Game 4. Now the question is, can we see that in the next game? Can we be consistent? that's ultimately what is going to determine whether they get to a 6 or not. Another thing to look out for is that last game. It looked like the bench was outplayed. Um, I thought going in, you have Walker, you have Reed. Um, I thought the combination that they have in their bench could outplay Dallas's bench consistently enough um, to win that matchup. The reason why that game was close yesterday with Doncic being uh, very inefficient, Irving also very inefficient. Um, the bench won by like 10 plus points. They got really good minutes out of Hardy, and I think replacing Tim Hardaway Jr. With Hardy has been really good for them. And I personally would like to see more of him in this next game, if anything, so that Doncic and Irving doesn't have to play 40 minutes each. Maybe you get them down to the mid 30s, and they have more in the tank to close the show. That's me personally. As far as the Timberwolves are concerned, in order for them to have a shot at a game 6, we're gonna need to see the same cat that we saw last game. But we're also gonna see we're gonna need McDaniels in this game coming up as well on both sides of the ball. I think it wouldn't be unreasonable to need him to be in the 15 to 20 range. I think he's shown the capability of doing that when he's aggressive. I think the team is better when he's a little bit more aggressive. I know that's not necessarily his role on the team because he is just an ancillary piece, but I think he needs to impose his will on his matchup, win that individual matchup, especially if Reed isn't really offensively inclined. I don't think he was very offensively minded last game, which is surprising because um, Cat had like foul trouble the whole game. So it surprises me that he wasn't more involved in the offense. It wasn't like Cat was jacking up shots all game. Like it was a very like if anything, like Edwards took the most as the star player he should. But it was surprising to see the offensive output from Reed when the front court was in such foul trouble. So that's if you're looking for an opportunity to be better in the next game, I would look at McDaniels. I would look at Cat improving on last game's performance, and Nas Reed's going to be important too, especially if their front court gets in foul trouble in the next game.
And Gabe, the reason I took down the prompt is because I heard y'all talk about this after I signed off on the previous show on Sports Pulse. I really liked what I heard Joe and Bill make that point at the bench points, and I thought that was really intriguing. And because it says if anyone gets injured, anything gets in foul trouble, then they're not deep at the big positions like the Tims probably are deeper, or they're not as deep on the backcourt, but on the front court they are deeper for sure, and then they're aggressive. Now, I want you to kind of, if you wouldn't mind, I want you to piggyback off of what Joe and what you and Joe were talking about in Sports Pulse and what you just mentioned right there about the benches.
Yeah, I mean the clear path to victory for the Timberwolves is to be aggressive and their bread and butter needs to be in the paint. And that includes Anthony Edwards to put pressure on the interior of the Dallas Mavericks defense. Would love to see them get in the paint, initiate contact, and get the others in foul trouble. Because if they have to go to the bench, just like Joe said, this Dallas team is in big trouble then, particularly in the front court. My big issue is not necessarily that Karl-Anthony Towns took the 3, and not necessarily that he believes that it's a good thing that he's taking 1,500 plus shots a day. That's not my concern. My concern is that he got rewarded for it, and that we're going to go back to watching him take up 33, 35-foot shots, and him thinking that that's a good shot for him. No, you being the Timberwolves won the game. You had the chance in this game because you were aggressive and because you and Gobert were in the paint making it happen, being aggressive. So if they get away from that, there's no chance that they beat the Mavericks again.
I think that is absolutely true, and that's why I was so intrigued when you guys said that. I was listening while I was getting ready for this show, and I was just like, "That's a really good point." I mean, I just don't. You think about the Mavs, and Jordan, I'll go to you in a second. You think about the Mavs, we're so enamored by, which we should be, the dynamic duo in the backcourt that we forget, and then we're like, we hear about their bench players, or not their bench players, but their role players. TJ. We think about Derrick Jones Jr. We hear about Gafford, I guess, would be another one. And we hear about, you're right about Tim Hardaway Jr. That guy just, I don't know what to have. He's disappeared. He pulled a Houdini. It's not like he was like that skilled anyway, but he can be, but not this year. And then, but yeah, it's like we don't think about Derek Lively is out basically. You know, his injury is essentially whiplash. That's what I heard today. It's like basically what it is. It's a whiplash, and he'll play probably next game. But what will his effect be this week? And who's their center behind him? I mean, that's a tough road right there. So I like Jordan. Feel free to comment on any of this.
Yeah, the Wolves, like if Carl Anthony Towns, does this, disappears, becomes invisible again, I think this series might be done in Minnesota. Yeah, they need the cat. They need Cat to be more efficient in the paint. Like, you're 6 feet. Come on, dude. Stop taking threes. Yeah, and just try to get them. Try to get those people in. Get that Dallas front court trouble. I actually agree with you, Gabe. Like, they need to get them in trouble. Like, if they don't, like that bench won't be depleted, and Dallas's bench is not good. Like Hardaway Jr. Why are people still trusting Hardaway Jr. in playoff series? Why?
That he hasn't played the last 2 games, so the trust is definitely gone.
Yeah. That must have been no. Jason Kidd must have been like, oh hell no, Tim, get in the bench and think of what you did. But yeah, for Dallas to win, they just need to hope that Karl Anthony Towns takes more threes than necessary, because he's going to miss most of them, and see the Timberwolves collapse again.
Yes, indeed. Jordan Ramos. Thank you, executive producers. Jordan Ramos, bitter fan and a parent clown. Parent. That's what we're hearing right now.
Exactly. That's what. Hey. That what the game of life gave me. I gotta take it.
Hey, you know what? It's nice when you can own up to who you truly are. Show them who you are. Like Black Panther. Show them who you are. All right. Well, I think that was a really good kind of like combo on this. So let's we'll do like a way too early kind of pick for this game. I don't have the line right now. Last time I checked was the Timbs are favored by 4.5 on the spread, but that's basically a pick 'em for being at home. I'm not sure what this could change obviously any second. But as of now, makes me see what it is. Pardon me, everyone. It's the exciting part of the show. There it is. Oh, it's moved up to 5.5. Total 209.5. Dallas money line 165. So very much kind of just a pick 'em. The total is the one that you're really going to pay attention to on this. Unless you think Dallas is going to win, in which case you might as well take the money line, or you can even bump up the volume. So, you guys have any way too early predictions for 24 hours from now? I'll start. Anyone can start. Jordan can start.
If they Dallas money line, baby, you gotta get that money line, baby. They're gonna finish the job in Minnesota and leave those fans depressed again. because Minnesota sports teams always find ways to break their fans' heart. And that not just from me. That's from seeing a lot of Minnesota teams fall apart when they need them the most.
There you go. Hey, aren't you a Knicks
And that's not even being a Knicks. That's not even being a Knicks. That's not even being a Knicks fan. That's just seeing what they did for years.
I'm saying the Knicks have. When was the last time the Knicks went to a conference championship?
Charlotte Hornets. I know you know one counter. You're a Charlotte Hornets fan.
Apples and oranges.
All you see is death.
No, I see life. I see life. I just temper my expectations. I temper my expectations because I know my team. It's not there. You know. Thank you. Not
exactly.
There.
But that, and I think for 3 point, Kyrie's gonna take 3 point. It's gonna be my player proper 3 points made. Because they're gonna depend on Kyrie to finish the job. Stab him.
All right. Well, who else wants to take a stab at this?
I'll make mine quick. My early inclination is Mavericks are going to win the game. Last night, that was Kyrie Irving's first loss in a closeout game. He's 14-1 now in closeout games. As a point of pride, I don't think he's going to let that number rise to 2. I think they get it done in the next game. Me personally, but obviously the Timberwolves' best shot at winning this game is to let's stay out of foul trouble. Let's defend well without fouling. The irony is Edwards gets on Cat all the time in doing that, and he himself had 5 fouls. And they joked around at the end of the press conference. They joked around at the ending press conference, like well, you fouled out. And it's like, yeah, but you have 5 fouls. It's like, yeah, but I didn't foul out. I was like, that's great, but all of you had 5 fouls at least. You had 5 fouls, Rudy had 5 fouls, and Cat had 6. If that happens in the next game and you're depending, your stars are out of the lineup, that's gonna be a cause for concern. But like I said, Timberwolves' best shot at winning is for Cat to repeat his previous performance, getting more out of Reed and McDaniels next game, and maybe putting the Dallas front court in the foul trouble, force them into that bench. Players like Kleber and Dwight Powell. I think you'll find that to be a difficult way to win a game, having them in the game more.
And I love that you mentioned the press conference because it was funny. It's like, what do you want me to say? What do you think I thought we were going to lose? No. And he talked about Michael Parsons, and then he talked about the foul, and he said, yeah, but he said, I'm going to talk about, oh, man, what I say to you about foul? You had 5 fouls. You got foul out. Don't worry, they almost forget that the cameras are even there. He's like, don't worry, I'm going to beat him up on the bus. He's like, he ain't going to. And then they did the Michael Parsons thing. I'm going to give him the size 14. If anything, I want the Sims to be in it, not just because they get to see the TNT crew longer, but I love Ant Edwards, man. His press conferences are so damn funny. He's just hilarious, man. He's got that. He does have that Mamba mentality. I love that. All right. And then he's not Mamba. He's not MJ, but he's that mentality. All right, Gabe. Put a bow on this subject. Way too early picks for the betting line.
Yeah, this initial line is absolutely insane. I have no idea what Minnesota's deserved to be favored by this much. I could see this game being a 3-point swing either way. And so for sure Minnesota can win this, but a 5-point favorite, get out of here. If this bumps down to 4.5, I'm okay with taking Dallas here as well. So anything over 4 or above, I'm taking Dallas to cover. Depending on where it gets down to that, I'm going to wait and see any injury updates. But I don't see Minnesota winning this convincingly or comfortably.
Yeah, 8 points total in the series by total difference of score. I think yesterday was actually the biggest point differential because the Tims got they win by 7 because they had like a
Mavs won by 9, game 3 though.
Oh, they won by 9. Okay. Okay. Well, they won by 9. What's it? I don't know. I'm not even heard of. I would be wary about the spread. I agree with you. Betting men would say if you're going to take the spread, it's not going to stay the way it is. You would say that the Mavs are at least covered. They've at least covered the spread. I wouldn't be bold enough. What I am bold about though is the total, depending on how much it changes. I think this would be. I would move this total up to 220.5. I really would. I think it's going to be a higher scoring. Not a Pacers game, but it's going to be like higher scoring than usual. So that's where I would be with it. So yeah, we'll get into that tomorrow. Though. Then we'll see some more ant magic, giant Ant-Man magic. All right. You know what, guys? Now, what you want to say? In fact, I want Joe to comment on this because we talked earlier. Joe's been talking about how hockey is so under talked about, and I want this real quick. Joe, this is your chance. Give some give some hockey shout outs or drop some knowledge on it. Good. Get some butt back.
There's some amazing series out there. Texas hockey is back. Dallas is doing some amazing things in their series with Edmonton. I personally, I had the Rangers against the Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals, but I would not be upset if the Rangers ended up against Dallas, just to perpetuate the whole New York versus Dallas. I mean, that's just chef's kiss if we kick them out of the Stanley Cup. That would be amazing. Take that into football season. That's just me personally, just the personal hatred for everything Dallas. Except for the Mavericks. I do like the Mavericks.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
The Knicks aren't in it anymore, so I don't have to hate them half as much now.
Yeah.
Except
Kyrie.
Yeah. If the Knicks are still in it, we hate the Mavericks. Okay?
Exactly.
No, but yeah, no, I'm definitely interested in what's going on in the Stanley Cup, and we just had a tough overtime loss with the Panthers. Physical team, it's going to be great. I will say, to kind of like shift before I get up out of here, do we have a problem with the Chiefs roster right now?
Yes.
Do we just happen to just
Yes.
stumble upon a sickness of criminal activity that we're just getting arrested every week in the offseason now? Apparently, reports are one of their players are getting closely looked at for what was it, abuse against or neglect, animal cruelty. A member of the squad, and I'm just kind of like, I don't remember this being a franchise that had to deal with all of this stuff, but I guess when you win as often as you're winning, now all of a sudden you just feel like you can do anything now. So that's something to look at this offseason going into the season is kind of what's the mentality now, because you've got a kicker who's just very, very vocal about their opinions on life, and you've got people getting arrested now. These are things that when you're defending a back-to-back championship that you don't want to be dealing with in the offseason going into a new season. So if they were to happen to do it this year, the Chiefs, huge shout out to them, because this is the most activity they've had in the offseason heading into a season
but the
like
90
this.
Bills, wait, what's it like? Oh my God. The bickering Bills to shame.
You don't normally see this from a Super Bowl team, all of this off the field. Like it's gonna be wild, but I just wanted to point that out prior to heading up out of here. You can find me at Java Joe Sports on the X. All my opinions will be out there, linked to my writing portfolios out there. But it's been a pleasure again, gentlemen, as always.
As always, I'll keep you on from that, man. By the way, they're talking about the Panthers on NFL Live. Come on, Bryce Young. There you go. It's always nice to see Panther blue on there. Well, this is different. We got a
Yeah.
combo of Panther Brew and Tar Heel. That's what we do on this show, baby. Hey, so I'm going to say this. By the way, you're forgetting about the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s. That always had problems. Go win. You're forgetting about
Yeah.
Bickering Bills in the night. I think it's the 93
the
Oilers.
the Raiders of the 70s and 80s. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they hadn't killed has any of the Chiefs killed anyone yet?
Well, hold up. If anyone deserves to be cut,
Almost.
it's the animal cruelty. The guy the dude who did the animal cruelty deserves to be cut.
Rice came close.
Rice will probably get suspended if it comes down to it. He'll get suspended for like 3 or 4 games, but they can afford to lose him for a couple games. And I forget. Yeah, I mean Butker's just an idiot. He's just an idiot. Which is ironic. His mom is a freaking physicist. You gotta love that. And he apparently thinks a woman's place as a homemaker is totally acceptable. So I'm sure she loved that. Makes mom proud. Okay. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, I think the Chiefs is always theirs to lose, man. You gotta Super Bowl goes to KC. And that, it's funny because you're echoing something that we talked about way back when, kid. Gabe brought that up, and he has his concerns about the Chiefs. So, all right, well, I'll tell you what, Gabe, I'll let you do the wrap up here. Jordan, what about you? What you want to say? I know you got a lot to say, so try and keep it.
What I gotta say, the Wizards just hired their interim coach to be head coach, and it's it's the Wizards, so it's not gonna really do much. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited talking about basketball. I'm always excited to talk about sports in general with you guys. With basketball season ending, we can talk about the real grind of football, baby. I love talking sports in general with you guys, and we're gonna see some chaos in the NBA offseason. I love it. I love it all. But yeah, you can find me always at sports with my writing stuff. You can find me on Twitter, JCMorales698 at Twitter, JCMorales698 at Instagram. You can find me at TikTok.
Okay.
And yeah, you can find me anywhere really. And I also got to say, when the Chief Dynasty happens,
Not underneath my desk.
when the Chiefs dynasty happens again and they win their third in a row, we will see this man. We will see a certain Big Ten man be a little better because the Patriots hadn't done a three-peat, not in their life. But yeah, that's all I gotta say, really.
He does have a point, actually. That probably explains your bitterness towards the Chiefs. That does kind of explain it a little bit, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, not really, because they haven't, so it wouldn't explain that at all, and they're not going to. So that explains absolutely zero. But in regards to Jordan being a menace, shout out to him. Check us out, CuriousSportsPulse.com and SportsPulse100. Shout out to the ScOutCast Media Hub for having us on. This was fun. And 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Curious Sports Pulse on the YouTube, on the Twitch, and everywhere except underneath Joe's desk.
We don't even know. I don't want to know what's under Joe's desk.
My sandals right now.
About
It's not pants. It's not pants. That's what we do. That's why he doesn't stand up during the show. Actually, Joe is actually in charge of. I trust him with Sportscast Media Hub, the social media, but specifically Twitch. I try to handle it as much as I can, but this guy right here has been pioneer for our Twitch account. How is it doing right now, Joe?
Well, that is in progress, but it will start getting drumming here shortly.
All right. I just want to give the people a progress report, and that way y'all can look forward to see me on Twitch. He knows everything about being a Twitcher. I think that's how you say it. That's kind of a weird thing, but all right. So everyone just Twitch, do the Twitch. All right, shimmy Twitch. All right. So yeah, Sportscast Media Hub. Always. So we're looking to. I'm trying to get. We're going to have a baseball show once this wraps up, along with golf. And I know that a lot of y'all like baseball, making sure I educate myself every day. So, and then we're going to have college football coming up here very soon in terms of spring training, or well, not spring training. Sorry,
Oh,
training
thanks for
camp.
reminding me. I have to actually
Camps.
pre-order that game.
Yeah, you can get Madden. You can
I
get
think.
Madden in the combo.
Oh
You can get
yeah. I
Oh,
can get both.
hell no,
I
I'm
can
not
get
gonna get that,
both.
man. I'm gonna get my
Yeah.
mother freaking NCAA
More.
25.
I'm more excited about. I'm more excited about NCAA too, but still, I might get both. I might get both.
I'm
All right.
excited.
Well, everyone, follow me. Follow me at Lemmigood09. Here's all our handles. So, I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you for keeping us up on hockey. We'll see if the Panthers and the Rangers keep living up to expectations, along with the Stars and the Oilers, the whole Oilers. So everyone,
Oilers, baby.
thank you all for watching. One love. See y'all tomorrow.
There y'all.
Take it easy. Oh, and shout out to support Curious Sports Club. Like I said, thanks for having me on today.
Oh yeah. Support the curious. It's a curious sports.
Yeah, what he said.